Well, the clock here says 7, and I actually think we have our quorum,
We do.
so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Isn't that great? Okay. Oh, Mark disappeared. Where'd Mark go? Well, we still have a quorum. That's so weird. Mark disappeared. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and welcome everyone to the Recreation Committee meeting, and thank you for joining us. We have, let's do some introductions. I'll start with Keith because I don't know who Keith is. So go ahead and tell us who you are.
Oh, hello, my name is Keith Oborn. I am the new town planner for the town of Richmond. And
Okay.
I'm here to support the Recreation Committee in any form that they may need.
Great, thank you, Keith. You probably told me that, Duncan, and I forgot.
Remember that now. Yeah.
Welcome aboard, Keith.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, and Mark, why don't you just introduce yourself?
All right, put on the camera for this. Sorry, I apologize for the scene you're about to see. Mark Fossil, been on the rec committee now, I guess, going a couple years, and I'm also shared time on the planning commission for a while. Live up on Hillview Road in Richmond. Got a couple of kids who have moved their way through the school system and are trying to find affordable housing.
Oh, wow.
Good
Yeah,
luck with
that's
that.
always.
Yeah, right.
All right, Kathy, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, yes.
Any of us.
I'm Kathy Costello. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I live on Stage Road in West Bolton. I'm brand new to the Recreation Committee and trying to figure it out. But welcome, Keith. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And Kate?
Sure, I'm Kate. I live on Mary Drive in Richmond. Been in Richmond for about 10 years now. And I think I've been on the committee, I forget now. It's close to 2 years. I guess it'll be 2 years this spring.
All right. And then Duncan, here. you go.
Yep, Duncan Wardwell. I'm the assistant to the town manager. Once again, great to have you aboard, Keith. Good to have good people in good places. And I'm also a Richmond resident. I'm on Cochrane Road and served on the rec committee over almost 17, 18 years ago for a few years, and good to be back in working with everyone.
That's great. Actually, it's kind of nice to know where people live. Like you've told me it before and I keep forgetting. So I'm Sherry Lynn and I live in Huntington. This is a Richmond, Bolton, Huntington 3-town collaboration around recreation. And I live on Maple Drive in Huntington, closer to Hanksville. And I co-chair with Kate, and I think I'm going on like maybe two years, I guess, or 2.5. I can't remember. Yeah. So I re-upped, I think, in June of 2022 for 2 more years. I think it's 2-year term. So.
And I'm Kirsten Santor. I live on Lawrence Road in Richmond. And I have been on the committee since it got established, I think in late 2019. I think it was late 2019.
Yeah.
It came about gradually. So
Yeah.
since it's been back in force.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here. And we are gonna ask if there are any public comments for non-agenda items. I have, I think, maybe 2, but I'll see if anyone else has any that isn't on the agenda they'd like to bring up at this time. Okay. The 2 that I wanted to mention was Duncan was kind enough I had emailed everyone, I think it was this morning or yesterday late, I can't remember, a couple of handouts for today's meetings because we're talking about the cleanup at Volunteers Green on Green Up Day and the website. And so I had totally forgot that that is public information. And so I just wanted to, check in with everyone because people contributed information, especially to the web ideas. And so I created a table and then I cut and pasted emails without your names into the text. So It really is public information. I probably should have had it when I did the agenda, but I was late to do that. So I ended up just, Duncan posted it, but it is something we're going to reference today. So I just wanted to clarify that. Does anyone have any comments about the handouts as far as, those would be public records? I think in the old days, we had thought about doing subcommittee work. And so that would not be a quorum of people, and the subcommittee work is not considered a public meeting. But because this is a public meeting, we have to, if we have handouts, we have to post them on the website. Okay, so that's, I guess, more of a clarification, but the other issue that, or the other information that came up after the agenda was made is there's a, we can put this on the agenda for maybe next meeting in May. There is a group called, let's see, I gotta read it. Play and Park Structures. And so they are looking for applications to help with your playground and park structures. So I just, it was an email that you had gotten, and so it's just kind of interesting. It's not a government agency, it's a for-profit agency, but they are giving out money to help towns with their playgrounds. So I just want to put it on the agenda for next time, and we can kind of look at it, and maybe we'll know more about what's happening with the proposed ARPA recommendations to the select board, because we did request some funding for the playground there. So those were just two announcements that kind of came in after the agenda that I just wanted to, convey to everyone.
Hey,
Okay.
Sherry, I just wanted to clarify, is that like funds that would be used towards a new playground or like help
Yeah.
designing a new playground? What exactly is it?
Well, I didn't look at the application. I'm reading the, and so I didn't, did
It's
you
a good
look?
question, Kate. I
Yeah.
got it as part of, just like Park and Play reaching out to recreation departments. And I saw it and I was like, well, maybe we should look into this, but it literally came today. So there
Okay.
wasn't any time to really review it.
Yeah.
I'm
Sure.
not sure if it's more of a marketing piece or if it's a true like grant type of thing. So I would be
Mhm.
wary, but we just need to
Yeah.
research it more.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, it's, it says as part of the, it says, up to $5 million to help you create the playground of your dreams and enhance your community. It's very different than when the state comes out with grant applications. So,
Not as welcome.
yeah. So, anyway, so it's just something to have on our radar to take a look at. We're
Did
looking
it come
for-
with an offer for a car warranty? That sounds pretty rich.
Yeah, it might.
Okay, all right, so those are my two public comments for non-agenda items. Jesse, I see you're here. I didn't know if you had a public comment that you'd like to share at this time, or you're good. Okay, all right. All right, let's go on to the next business item. So we have the, this is just administrative stuff, minutes from March 9th of 2023. And so I was looking to see if anyone would motion to approve the minutes, and a second for that.
Motion.
Okay. And I'll second it. And then I'll just ask people, is there any discussion about the March 9th meetings? Anything that needs to be, clarified, or, a question about the minutes from March 9th? Okay, so hearing nothing. I think what I'll do is, for the rec committee members that are up on the screen, if you can raise your hand, that always helps. Who, if, let's see, I forgot how to say this. All in favor of the motion to approve the minutes of March 9th, raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, any that opposed? Okay, so the motion passes unanimously. Okay, Duncan, we have a park use event to go over.
Yep, so just kind of, for those of you kind of just joining in every month, I'll try to just give you updates on different reservation forms that have been coming through. So since our last meeting, we've got the Richmond Farmers Market, which is obviously a well-known institution, and they're going for their typical Fridays, so no change there. So no reason to really, I don't see to spend much time on that. And then our second one, the ever controversial Richmond Area Little League. So a couple of tee them up, hit them off the tee, and let's get moving. So shouldn't be too much, but likewise, tell me if you ever have any questions on that, on how we reserve the volunteers green in other places.
Okay. Does anyone have any input? I know from a couple, or at least one of the events last time, there were just some recommendations. So this is the Little League and the Farmers Market. I don't know if there's anything that we want to convey that we think is a good recommendation, or if those events go very smoothly, we might not have anything to recommend. I've got nothing.
And that's not to say we can't bring
Yeah.
that on at any point, you know,
Yeah.
I'm always that liaison for if things come up, if
Okay.
people see stuff. You can tell me, I can find the right person. You know, likewise, you know, we could always publish that information, but I don't think we need to publish people's numbers and have people reaching out to
Yep.
individuals. If there's a problem, we would like to hear about it probably, so then we can address it as well, so.
You know what I just thought of though, is the calendar, I can't even remember, does Richmond have a calendar where it lists what's going on in
It's just
town?
a Google, it's just our reservation Google Calendar. So it's just
Ah.
basically a tool that I use to
Okay.
be like, okay, no, I told someone they will use the bandstand green on these days. And
Okay,
it is, the public can view it, but I don't think, and it's on some of the calendars, but that could be something we talk about is how do
Okay.
we publish that? Likewise, it is kind of a first come, first serve, place, so you don't want to make people think you have to reserve it, you can, no one's using the bandstand, band show, go ahead and use it as long as you're using it respectfully.
Mhm.
But likewise, when people do reserve it, I just kind of keep that list and kind of keep it, just to us to know and improve.
okay,
But we can advertise it more. It is a public calendar and a Google calendar that we could easily
Okay.
put a link to.
okay. Yeah, because I was just
Or
thinking
we could
about,
just list items as they come up too.
yeah, I was just thinking about that. So that was to do with the website too. I was thinking about calendars, so we can talk about it. when we
Yeah,
get
I
to
mean, I
that.
think it's
Yeah.
fine. It's like, it's once again, what do we
Yep.
want to advertise? As we were listing different things, we could probably have a little running scroll in the Google Calendar or just list little events that are coming up and maintain that. That's not too hard to do.
Yeah, okay. All right, so any questions about those two events, or are we good to go forward? All right, good. Okay. The next thing is we are planning for our Volunteers Green Cleanup Day. And so we need to kind of check in on what are the actual cleanup things we're going to be doing that day. So part of it is whether or not we have the materials and what makes sense. So I had done up an announcement based on what we talked about at the last meeting in March. And so I guess the question is, I'm going to go down the bullets to start with, and then just see if there's anything to add or change. So we wanted to clean up the playground area, rake the mulch and the sandbox area. So there's that sand that's out, kind of out on the yard, and we're going to try to put some back into the, I guess there is a wooden structure, right? Yeah. And then Mark, you said that you could help haul the extra sand away if it's too much. So did we have any luck with finding out about the mulch? Because that was a question, Duncan, you were checking in on, whether or not we can add mulch.
That I do not know. No, I was not I don't have an answer to that on how much. We do have to get our inspection once again, and they'll give us the input on how much we have to actually add for kind of like a rare area.
Okay.
around The playground and stuff.
Okay, so you're thinking then May 6th is green up day.
Right,
So we are not gonna have the inspection done by that
right,
time.
we will not have that.
So that means we will just be raking the mulch.
No, yeah,
Okay.
I think I
Okay.
think that might be probably the best bet to
Yep.
wait to put something in there and
Okay.
then kind of have them, I would have it look at that. We could certainly get some.
Okay,
But depending on how many people we have, that might be also a good, kind of just a general cleanup, pickup, respect, and even, I think. Reading through it, like it's a good community outreach, good time to talk and, visit and hear people's ideas and then start making a list of, oh, hey, we want to look at this, we want to improve this, we want to do this as well again, so.
and what do we mean by clean up the playground area? I'm like thinking to myself, what does that actually mean? I'm not sure.
I would say the mulch.
Yeah. Are we wiping down anything or like, I don't even know, like, I mean, there might be trash, so I can imagine we'd pick up trash, but is there anything on the physical structure that we would be cleaning? I have no idea on May 6th. If there's anything, does anyone know? Does the playground ever get washed down or wiped down, or it probably
No.
doesn't make sense to do it?
No.
Okay.
I
So
think
we're
it just gets rained on and that washes it.
I would
Okay,
think
so
birds may be an issue too, but I'm not sure.
I was wondering about that, the bird stuff. Well, you know how it like falls down? I hate that, so
Yeah,
I don't,
scrubbing like the tables and the benches might be a good idea.
yeah, okay, because I did have that listed, and so I was thinking we probably need some kind of rags and water and some kind of soap
Then
to
we need shovels too.
we got, yeah, because I was gonna, right, we have to bring our own rakes and shovels. And then,
Or if we need to get like certain consumable supplies, I did this with the MMU.
okay,
Kind of volunteer students too, we have an account at the Richmond Home Supply. It's not too difficult to see, what's the weather like? We don't need to buy it too far ahead of a time, but it's like, we
So can
it
you
a
get
few
it-
days before. Yeah.
can we
I
get
do
some
that.
rags and?
Yeah, if I get a list of stuff, I can easily go get that and help kind of, distribute that stuff. So that's easy to do.
Yeah, I think it would just be rags and, some buckets.
Right, we would
um,
obviously just have to have the expenses, so I can just follow
Yeah.
up on that, and we'll probably have to have the select board do some, you can spend, up
I
to.
think we have a little money. in
You might have, yeah.
We
so
have
that's
like
true. Yes, we might have that.
$400,
Right,
so
right.
I don't think anyone needs to approve that, do they?
I still think they need to approve it, they just gotta say, yeah, you can spend it out of your 400.
Okay.
But we could get that probably for the next meeting, if we just kind of get like a short list of things that we want to buy and kind of put a little quick number on it, we could get that for the.
Well,
next
I'd like to
agenda.
get that done today. So the whole point is let's get organized, make the request
Right, so get
now,
the butt-
because
get
I
the-
don't
get
even
the
want to
butt-
deal
yeah.
with it.
So
like-
let's hear what we want
Yeah.
for supplies for that.
So I think that if we have just a couple of buckets, and, rags, I
Scrub
think,
brushes?
scrub brushes, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've
Yeah.
got everything like that, except maybe I only got a couple of scrub brushes, but I got a half dozen buckets and bag of rags and
So you're willing to bring those then, Mark, so we don't have to
yeah,
order?
I don't care. I got a bunch of rakes too and shovels.
Yeah, I got rakes and shovels. I'm not worried about, okay. All right, so maybe if you have the rags and the buckets, then we don't have to worry about that. But maybe I do like the scrub brushes because things like on the picnic table are hard to get off.
So
So,
like kind of like a hand.
Yeah.
So like a.
yeah,
I got a couple of those. I don't know how many.
It's on the bottom.
yeah,
Old school iron.
yeah.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
And probably we'll look at those and I'll kind of ask the question.
Yeah.
What do we need to get approval for that? So,
Okay, okay,
but
so
yeah,
that,
keep listing those things that we want. So-
and I do think
I
for
have
the,
one thought. Sorry,
Yeah,
what
what was-
about like some type of soap? We'd probably want it to be like biodegradable since we're near the
Yes.
river, but for scrubbing them. So
yes, I think that it would be good. So, Mark, do you have any biodegradable soap? If not, we're
I
gonna
think
get
I've got some simple green. I'm gonna go downstairs right now and check.
Okay, geez, Mark is the cleaning supply guy. He's good at everything.
he's got it
So
all.
Mark will check that, but that makes sense. Yeah, and we'll just check for any bird droppings on the playground equipment, because that's, yeah, I imagine that might be there in the picnic tables. Okay, so we're raking the sand or shoveling the sand, raking the mulch.
I was thinking too, like the mulch inevitably ends up on the play structure, so.
Oh,
like,
right.
We're moving.
Okay.
Moving that off. So that
Gotcha.
might be like a physical cleaning of it too, but.
Yep, okay, all right, that's good. Let's see, pick up down branches and debris on the natural walking areas of volunteers green. So, so are we thinking that we're making a pile that someone's picking up, or are we putting it alongside the trail, the debris, the walking trail? That I don't know. We went back and forth.
Well, we can probably talk, because once again, we'll probably start landscaping in the field
Yeah.
before May 6th. It's tough to tell.
Yeah,
So there might have been already that done by the mow and maintain, so I can be in communication with
Okay.
them about if we get a bunch of stuff, let's just make a pile. We'll just tell them, hey, you can
perfect,
come pick that up, or we can kind of just see if they're doing something around that as well. So,
excellent,
On the
excellent.
trail, people can just.
Yeah,
throw it,
right.
throw it. Okay, that makes sense, because that will just compost.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But in the actual field.
Okay, and then we're gonna pick up any trash and put it in the trash receptacles. So I guess the question is, we don't need green up bags because because won't there be waste bag, aren't there trash receptors out there now that we can throw away stuff or not? We just probably need buckets to pick stuff up. I guess that's my question. Do we
I,
need?
I
green-
think it would be good to have a couple of, maybe a few green up bags, because people
Okay.
also might take it further afield and,
Gotcha.
take some with them. I think it's just good to have them.
Okay, okay, I can, so I guess the question is, does Richmond have the green up bags available the week before the Saturday green up? Because I always pick mine up in Huntington.
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah, where do they put them?
I think they're just downstairs at the
Perfect.
town office. Yeah.
Okay,
I'll follow up with that.
okay,
Yeah,
so
they're
we'll-
at the town office usually, and I don't mind since I'm, close in town, making sure we
Okay.
get them beforehand.
perfect. Yeah, that's great. Okay, that's great. I like that idea, because then if there's little kids, they have the bags and they're thinking, oh, wow, I'm part of green up and I got my
Yeah.
green.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're gonna pull out the lawn games, and leave them near the band shell. And then people can play with the lawn games too. So those are gonna be out for the summertime. So that's the current list of things. And I guess the question is, I forgot, how do we get into the concession stand to pull out the lawn games?
There's a little combo, which I
Okay.
can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay,
Yeah.
but we can get that before.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's- Once again, that takes 2 minutes.
Okay.
Just open it up there. They should be there. I'll do a double check before May 6th, but everything should be fine.
and what else do people want to do for cleanup? I mean, that was the original list, but are we forgetting anything? We got the benches, the picnic tables, the playground area, the
What's
walking
going on in the
area.
dugout? What's going on with the dugouts?
Oh, I didn't list that.
Oh, well, the Little League usually does maintenance on the fields and this before the season starts, like in the spring and in the fall.
Okay.
Great.
So that should be all tidied up then probably. When do they start?
I
Yeah,
think
they're
they're starting pretty soon.
Okay, so they're probably
They're
already,
practicing already.
okay, okay.
They got the batting nets up and everything.
What was that, Mark? I didn't hear you.
They have the batting nets up and stuff.
Oh,
They had practice yesterday.
Okay.
Just as to catch back up, I can cover the simple green and rags and brushes. I mean, there's things we should spend money on and there's things that we, I don't think I need
Okay.
to.
Okay,
I mean, rakes
And then
and
it-
shovels and, we got more than enough, I think, to
and
keep
can
the-
everyone bring a rake and shovel? I know I can bring a rake and shovel. Okay, good,
Well,
okay.
Maybe we want to just put like a small number amount to approve. So if we need to run over that day to purchase stuff, that's one option. Because once again, it's like.
Yeah,
right
I'm not
there,
I'm not
and you just-
interested in purchasing anything the day of, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
Well,
no, I just want to go and clean
Yeah.
and meet people.
well, it sounds like
Yeah.
we have everything then. So
Yeah.
it's just, okay.
Yeah, but thank you for the offer. It's just that, like, I know I just want to show up, see, and hang out with people and get to work. Okay, anything we're forgetting is there anything on the band shell that would need tidying up?
Potentially
Hmm.
that. I'm also I saw today, there's just a ton of leaves down, but that will be very dependent on whether landscaping starts before May 6th or not.
Maybe
Okay.
sweep it out or something. I don't know.
Oh, that's an idea.
Yeah, occasionally with different tough, you can get some water and just kind of brush it out and kind of do stuff, around there. But yeah, it all depends on what we get for weather between now and May 6th, in my opinion. So like, you don't know what you got to green up until you get to that day. So,
Okay, but I'll just add
who knows
something
if it
about,
snows?
I'm still gonna shovel sand if it snows. So I'm gonna try to get the sand in the box. So I'll just add something about sweeping out the band shell, checking the mulch around the band shell. Okay.
Right, and we kind of with the MMU students too, when they do some painting of the benches, just kind of, once again, if everyone just kind of, if we promote a culture of everyone walking around and picking up stuff, let's make it a general habit. And we, if
Yeah.
everyone does this all the time, you don't need to do a big day, which I think is what's cool about this event, is just kind of getting people more recognizing. If you all pitch in, it's a pretty easy job.
All right.
Duncan, I was curious about one thing. I wouldn't necessarily suggest that volunteers do this, but does the town do something like with the bathrooms in the springtime to like clean the bathroom facilities and like spruce them up for the summer?
Yep, we have someone who
Okay.
visits, I think keeps an eye on it, throughout the week,
Okay.
especially during the busy times. But yes, we do have a cleaner for the bathrooms.
Okay.
Perfect.
I wasn't gonna ask volunteers to scrub toilets or anything. I was just curious.
That's great. That's good to know, though. All right. So I think that then it sounds like, I think then I'm just gonna add a bullet about the band shell and then anything else that we need to green up, basically. So with this announcement, then, were there any comments that folks wanted to say should be changed? Or I know that I asked, I think, Kate, you looked at it and did a little editing, not, so is everyone good with it? We're starting at 10. We're not gonna go past noon. It might be quicker than that. I put my email down so people can let me know if they're coming, and then that way I'll just pick up, something, maybe waters and, fruit or, granola bars or whatever, for people to snack on.
I thought it
Yeah.
looked good. I thought it looked good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we did make a statement about, this was Jack's idea, to say that, this is a great opportunity for families with young children to participate in a safe environment for Green Up Day. So,
Mhm.
yep. Okay, so I'm happy to put this on the Huntington Front Porch Forum. And so then we should put someone do Richmond and someone do Bolton. So Kathy, I'm assuming you can do the Bolton one.
Yeah, I'll just have to a little technology thing to cut and paste, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Them on.
It doesn't show up the right way.
Okay.
So the only way it shows up is if you're a resident of that town. It's weird. I've never had any luck posting anything. It kind of does a link or
It's like
something.
at the bottom. No.
Yeah, and it doesn't really give the same, layout and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that if we can get something, let's see, today is the 4th. And so I just have to add the bullet and I don't know when's the best time to post something on Front Porch Forum. Sometimes there's better days than others. But maybe get something out, this week, and then a reminder 2 weeks, from now. So I'll do Huntington, Kathy's gonna do Bolton, and who's gonna do the Richmond?
I can if you want.
Okay, great. Do
But
we
yeah, I
wanna-
like that idea. Like do it now, maybe a couple weeks before, and then like a couple days before, like, hey. do it up.
Yep, and then I think I will bring, I have a simple folding, plastic folding table that I'll just put up, and I'll just put, our little treats and stuff there. I don't know, make a poster, Recreation Committee Cleanup Day, come join. So-
I'm happy to volunteer to like get a few goodies too. And I also have a table if we need more table space.
Okay. Yeah, do we want to put anything on the table? Like, I don't know. I mean, Duncan, you would ask, like, should we ask questions about what people want on the playground? It would just be a first step. We got a lot more to
Yeah.
go.
No, I think just more
A little
discussion. Yeah, I mean, you can do that, or you can point them to the website where there's always the comment piece too.
Oh, okay.
We could print out the form that we have from the website.
Oh.
That's easy to put out there. So it's a similar form. It's just a generic one. Now,
Okay.
I don't think we need to make it specific, but just open up the avenues of
Gotcha.
communication of, hey, here's what we're doing, because we have a lot of answers.
We have no money, but we'd like to hear your opinion.
We have no answers on whether this can be done.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
Funded yet, but
And we don't know what it is. But
Yeah.
no, just I think more of it's a good PR
Okay.
move to get people out and kind of just doing
Yep.
stuff and have it in their consciousness that, hey, we will be doing more around this in future.
Yeah, so I'm happy to print out some of those forms and we can have a little box or something, and then we can just chat with people, you know? So that sounds like a lot of fun. And let's see, what was the other thing I was thinking about? Is that all we need for next steps? We've got the supplies, the outreach. Oh, do you guys want to put a poster anywhere or posters around or at the park? What do you-
One tough thing about the park is there's like nowhere to put posters up. I've tried before.
Okay. So I
But
don't
maybe
know.
we could get it put on that terrible sign that I don't know if anyone reads that we're doing the cleanup.
I
We
don't,
can post it like our agendas. There's the places around town if you want to do a little one-page, graphic, like the Richmond, Gateway and the Andrews Forest Committee did little one-page kind of
I
flyer.
put it on the webpage, you mean?
Well, no, just post it in the physical locations here. You've got the town center poster, you got the post office, and you got the library where we
Okay.
post different agenda items. So that could be
Gotcha.
something, if you wanted to post it there, that would be an easy place. I could post it up for you if you tell me what you
Okay.
want. I can go tack it up for you pretty easy.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. We can do that then. I know in Huntington, there's in the library, there's a nice bulletin board and Beaudry's always lets me
Mhm.
post
Right,
things
right,
there,
right.
so. I can put that there. I don't know, Kathy, anything in Bolton where you have like a bulletin board?
I think at the town clerk's office, I could post something.
Okay.
And I could probably see if I could put something at Smiley.
Okay.
Schools.
Very
Um,
cool.
So what are we coming up with for that? Like
I think it would be the same thing and maybe I'll put a graphic on it or
okay,
something.
so you're gonna do that, Sherry?
Yeah, I can do that, yeah. I'll
Okay.
probably have Kate look at it because Kate's good at that stuff like that, so.
All right,
So,
great.
yeah, I'll send out the announcement for Front Porch Forum right away, and then I'll just kind of
Right.
figure out what icon, what little fun thing I'm gonna put on there, and Kate will be creative and say, okay, what about this? So, hey, eye-catching. All right.
Excellent.
Okay, anything else we need for the Volunteers Green Cleanup Day? I'm looking forward to it. I like spring.
I was just thinking, one, I think there's a potential here for a decent turnout of people if we're posting in all three towns and whatever, but I wonder if maybe next year we shouldn't consider doing it at all three town parks.
Yeah,
And getting involved in coordinating for all three.
right. That's a good idea. That's, again, a great example of, across the three towns, how do we come together, So I would have to talk to the Huntington Rec Committee about what they do in that recreational field. It's got like horseshoes and basketball, and I think it's soccer.
We can plan for next year with that. Find out
Yeah,
the lay of the land,
Yep.
throw the park up on Jericho Road. Add that to the mix. And
There's a
maybe even
park
expand it to the park at the round church and the town center. Sort of bring all of those together under one. I mean, honestly, I haven't really participated in the community green up, so I don't, I'll pick up a couple green bags and do my thing on my road, but as far as what's done townwide, maybe we should spend some time looking at people at public spaces in the different towns into the different public spaces in Richmond, as we're traveling back and forth and
Yeah.
finding out if they're doing it as part of some other organization, maybe the Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or something are already on this and
Yeah.
we can,
I mean,
coordinated as a bigger operation.
do people, is there a list of places, do people sign up for certain areas in Richmond?
They
Sometimes,
do in Huntington. In Huntington, we sign up for certain roads, but what do you have, Kate?
Yeah, there is a sign up process. I don't know that everyone signs up, but last year they did a combination of like a paper sign up at the town center, and then there's an app you can use, the website. Apparently there were some issues with the app not working great, and then I think it was Linda at the town office, or someone at the town office, maybe it wasn't Linda, took what was on the paper map and added it online so that they were the same, which is quite a bit of work, but they're trying to give people the option, if they weren't comfortable using the app, to sign up in a physical location too.
Yeah, that's what Huntington does, is you go to the town garage and you can either pick a road that hasn't been picked, and you can pre-sign up with Sign Up Genius on what road you're gonna do, or what, there's a bunch of roads you can pick, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it depends in Bolton, it depends on who's kind of leading the charge. I mean, sometimes they have a pretty big community event at the town garage with, music and hot dogs and
Yep.
whatnot.
Donut.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Just in response to Mark's idea that, some of those, there might be happening, that people are signing up for particular park areas. I don't know, but good question. And then there's the river, right? There's the river cleanup. Coordinated by who, I don't know, but
Isn't there a committee that does the river? I thought there was a committee that does the river.
Well, there's, I think, several committees that, the Richmond Land Trust, the Friends of Winooski River do stuff. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people just do it.
Yeah.
Same thing. I think Green Up Day is one of those things where there's some formal stuff, but then there's also people just go out and walk their usual paths and pick the data, start picking up stuff.
yeah.
All
Okay.
right, so if we're all set for Green Up Day, and I guess we do meet before Green Up Day, because I think there's a Tuesday before May 6th. But I think we're all set. It sounds like we'll just maybe check in real briefly to make sure we haven't forgotten anything. I think we're good. Okay, the website. All right, so we had some great input from folks, and so I think that maybe what would be good is I just want to review the purpose and who is the website for about the recreation activities. We've got quite a long list of things that kind of fall under Richmond, Huntington, and Bolton. And, I think that, we can have somewhat of a conversation about that, but it's such a long list that it might be, it might be something that, I don't know, we just have to, I think that the purpose of listing the activities was to see if we actually have kind of categories that come out of the long list, whether it's water or land or trails or whatever. So we'll try to get to that, but I'm not sure if we'll be successful. We'll see. So let's start with the purpose. I'm just going to read out the purposes that people emailed. So the first one was inviting community involvement and relationships, that being a purpose of the website. Another one was to be a resource for recreation opportunities for both the Richmond, Bolton, Huntington communities and visitors to our communities. A third one was to provide recreational resources available in Richmond and neighboring Huntington and Bolton with, I might have this in wrong order. With something, maybe that one didn't get, I might have printed this out wrong, with something. And then I think I wrote that one. I don't know what my width was. Maybe that was an extra word. And then the fourth one was aim at reaching people who are local residents of Richmond and the surrounding towns in the area such as Huntington, Bolton, and Jericho. So that was interesting. So that was an addition of a town. It's funny because Jericho is like another town where we kind of like neighboring, we do things together. And like for Bolton, I remember Kathy, you said Waterbury is in the area that, a lot of Bolton people go to. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of surrounding towns. But I guess when I read this, it seemed like there was kind of a consistent theme that we wanted it for the residents of the communities that, whether that includes Jericho, I don't know, but definitely Bolton, Huntington, and Richmond. And then the only other thing that was interesting is inviting community involvement and relationship. Like that was something that stood out to me as something very separate. And we can have more than one purpose, I guess. So I just want to throw it out there and say, what do people think about kind of those two things? Go ahead, Kate.
I just said I was the one who put the Jericho. I think of Jericho because I am near Jericho in Richmond. I'm very close. And my kids do soccer that is based out of Jericho. So like for me personally, there's definitely overlaps with Jericho.
Yep. Thank you.
But they have a pretty robust, recreation stuff going on in their town as well.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess the question is, it does sound like we're not necessarily interested. Well, we did mention visitors. So I guess that's the question is, do you think visitors to town, it's a resource for them as well? So we kind of
Not sure how we delineate that.
Yeah, I don't know
can't
how
keep
we do
people
too.
off the website.
Yeah. But it's a good question to ask. It's kind of like what the senior center's experiencing, like they have the pickleball and some other stuff, and they're getting people outside of the community that are signing up that aren't residents. So they're
That's
thinking
more about like the
that's
registration
yes,
system.
yes.
Can't really block the website.
No, but it could be written in a way to say, oh, I got a cramp in my leg. Sorry. I got a cramp. I gotta stand up for a second. But the thing is, it could be written in a way that for people that live in Richmond, Huntington, and Bolton, I don't know, it could be just kind of massaged a little bit that I think it goes back to, we want Richmond, Bolton, and Huntington residents to be engaged and involved in recreation in our three towns. It's kind of the way I think about it. And it's great when visitors come, because we all have visitors. We have family members that visit that don't live in town. So I guess the question is there enough there in the purpose? Do we have to really come up with anything really succinct, or does that do the purpose of this exercise, which was what are we trying to do with the web page? Because that was do you think that, okay, just want to make sure, because you're
Like
kind of
more about the activities. Yeah.
okay.
now.
Okay.
But-
All right.
But
So
it was good to talk about, but Kathy has her hand
go
up.
ahead, Kathy. I'm just rubbing my
Um,
cramp.
Yeah, that's funny. Sure, she's,
Okay. I can sit down now.
let's see, I think someone made a point somewhere in the writing that I was reviewing in the documents that, people will find their way to the webpage, and they will find, wherever they're from or whatever they're doing, they can find their way to the webpage and they can access whatever, you find your way. And so I don't think it's about being exclusive. It's just, people will find their way. But for me, the purpose is for the three communities that we're representing on this, on this committee, that we're really trying to generate some level of communication so people are aware of what's going on in the community.
Yeah.
And that's what I was very, what strikes me, I'm just gonna, like, one thing so anyway, yeah, that's the purpose is, for me, that's really about the purpose, and visitors will find it, or they'll be, family members will share it, or
Right.
it'll happen naturally. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Okay, great.
Yeah,
Kate.
along that same line, I guess, obviously, we're not restricting people from going to the website. I was more just thinking like our thought process, like when we put stuff on there and like how we, decide in terms of language and stuff that, we are like trying to involve more local people. It's not like we're trying to get people from California to come visit Vermont. So I
Right.
guess it was more just like a thought process, like something to keep in our back of our mind as we're planning out the website.
Yep.
I agree. I get, we'll see where I get nervous about, for example, Bolton potholes. Like, I'm like, like that just raises anxiety for me around putting it out there as an invite, to anybody, because I feel like there's a whole slew of things that come with Huntington Gorge. There's
Yeah,
so much
I was,
history. There's so
Yeah.
much, there's the parking, there's the, all of it that creates problems for the neighbors and for the community. So those things I wanted to just discuss at some point more.
yeah. So
Our
I'm just gonna,
thinking about that.
yeah, I'm gonna circle those for now because I was worried about the Bolton potholes and I was worried about the gorge. Where did I put the gorge? Because I wanted to circle that one. That's actually in Richmond. It's not in Huntington. I don't know why they call it the Huntington Gorge.
It's on the Huntington River.
I know, but it's not the town of Huntington.
No.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, where is that? Hang on, I gotta circle it.
And likewise, I don't think we need to be the conduit of all that information. It's not like you
Right.
can't look up stuff these days and say, well, things to do in Richmond, and there'll be a million sites that do that. So
Yeah.
we're kind of in the position of different rec committees are posting stuff specific to their programs.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily need to be the place where we have to have a comprehensive list. We can,
Right.
but I don't think it needs to be also. I think there's certain options, or we can maybe point people to different directions, because it does bring in that tension of, hey, do you list the potholes? Do you list the Huntington Gorge? What do you list? What don't you list?
think I-
Businesses,
Right.
suppose, do we list Umiak?
I think I
Do we list
deleted the
Cochrane's?
Huntington Gorge. I don't see it. I think I deleted it. Okay.
But by that token, I know somebody else mentioned it too, but as a new resident a couple years ago, I was like, what do I do? Like, I know that there's things
Yeah.
that people do. Where do I find those things?
Yeah.
And that was really frustrating, not knowing who to ask or where to find that information. So
Yeah,
it's a balance for sure.
the balance, yep. Okay. All right,
Yes.
so I think that we've answered our purpose and that we're, focusing on targeting the audience of the website is community members, but of course, we know people might get there, and we want to be a resource, and I think Kate, you said the same thing. You weren't sure what to do when you first moved here. So we hope to fill that. So I kind of feel like that's pretty settled. I didn't see any differences. We pretty much said community members is our target. Great resource for area residents on what's available. Okay. All right, so let's look at the list of things. And then, maybe that is something to think about is are these, do these make sense to include, or do we want to exclude them for reasons that there's not ample parking and, people will find out about it anyways. So let's just look at on page 1. We'll look at the Richmond, Huntington, and the Bolton ones on page 1. So the volunteers green and list the amenities, the cross-country trails on that. Cochrane's, it would be a link because we said that if it was a organization that wasn't town run, we'd put the link. The Richmond Free Library snowshoe loan, we got to put that up there. I think that makes a lot of sense. Brown's Court, the question was whether or not, I'm going to stop right there. Brown's Court, the question was whether or not to put it up there because it is a neighborhood. And so, I guess there's some sensitivities about, even though the fields are there, but whether or not we would put it on the website. So there's the first 5 bullets on Richmond. So I don't know if anyone has any opinions of those, but I'm gonna stop at Brown's Court because I don't know what to do with Brown's Court.
If Brown's
Yep.
Court, it's not a private park. It's a town park. Town
Okay.
maintains.
Yep,
We,
the town maintains it. Okay,
absolutely should raise awareness about that as a recreating
okay,
location.
okay.
And it could be sensitive too. Like,
I
it
feel-
could be a list with the address, and maybe it doesn't share a ton of information about it or something. Like,
Okay.
You think about potholes or something, like something along those lines. You could say Bolton potholes somewhere and say nothing else about it. That's an option.
Yeah.
Something along those lines, so.
Yeah, I think Brown's Court was something to me. I didn't know what it was when you guys first talked about it. So I actually,
Recreation field.
so it's just a rec field. Okay, so if it was a category recreational field, it would be,
Baseball or softball, both?
Both.
Both?
I
And
think
then-
it's a softball field that's there now. Not that it matters. I'm sure. Well, it doesn't matter to me anyways.
okay,
I feel like baseball could be played there too, but
Well, so if you had the category town parks, you could say, here are the
Yeah.
Richmond town parks, here's the Bolton town parks, here's the Huntington town parks.
perfect.
Yeah.
I
Then-
like
then you
your
just-
thinking. Okay, that's a great way, just real generic. Yeah, Huntington has a rec field. We don't have a park. So we actually don't have a park, but you
Okay.
guys have, yeah,
You could say town parks and
and
recreation.
rec centers, yeah, okay, that makes sense, because we could put the Huntington rec fields. What rec fields are in Bolton? I should know this.
There's not any rec fields, but there's town park. There's the, Sarah Holbrook and, oh, now I'm blanking on the other. Town.
We actually
land.
don't, yeah, we don't have that listed, so we gotta put that, we've gotta get the name listed, so I don't have it on my list.
I think
Okay.
Sarah Holbrook, they're changing the name, so let's wait till they figure out what the name's gonna be.
Okay, so we got the 3 parks, hey, there's a category. Okay, all right, so let's go to the next 5. All right, so actually, let's go over to Huntington. Okay, so Huntington has Sleepy Hollow, so that's a link because they make money. And then there's the Huntington Town Forest and the community forest. So there's actually 2. And there actually are there's a web link. So I think I'm going to give you a web link for that one. Because they have a lot of information about that. And then the Huntington Rec area. So we said that's under the Park and Rec. The Audubon and Birds Museum. I can't remember if that's Huntington or Richmond, to be honest. Is it Huntington?
That's
Is it-
Huntington. I think that's Huntington.
Okay,
Because it's before Sleepy, like heading back. towards
Okay,
Richmond, so I think
okay,
that's
I
where-
could, it's funny because I always get confused. The Richmond line must be close by. But let's, like Audubon is a nonprofit. It's very cool. They got a bunch of trails. It's
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Birds of Vermont Museum, so, yeah, so I don't see anything controversial about these. Does anyone find anything controversial about those 5 bullets? I don't think there's anything. We
No.
just gotta figure out what category they go into.
As opposed to, for profit businesses that you're comparing it to.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out. Yeah, because do you think we're gonna separate the for-profit folks somehow? Like, because we have an example of Cochran's for Richmond, Sleepy Hollow for Huntington. So I don't know how we want to do that, or if we want to still keep it in some kind of category, winter sports or whatever it is. And then they just put the link in there. I don't know. We'll have to think about that.
Sherry, just so you know, Cochran's is a nonprofit, just an FYI.
It is,
Nonprofit.
It's like I think it's the only nonprofit ski area in the country, but I might be
Really?
wrong about that, but it is nonprofit, yeah.
Yeah.
well, see, that's interesting. I didn't know that. So, I mean, we can still have the link, but I didn't realize they were a 501c3, huh? Okay, I know Sleepy Hollow isn't. Okay, and then, all right, so there's 5 on Huntington. Let's look at the Bolton, the Bolton potholes. I wasn't sure, is Umiak, is that do they do that out of Bolton or is that everywhere? I cut and pasted it into
Well,
Bolton.
they
Yeah.
have, there's some odd, relationship going on between the town of Bolton and Umiak wanting to use the Sarah Holbrook land. So
Oh.
I think Umiak is a for-profit organization that does land in different places, right? Is it just in Bolton? I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
know, I think the physical location is in Richmond, where the Ski
Okay.
Express is in the winter time, I believe, unless I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
Mark has his hand up too.
Go ahead, Mark. Your hand's up, Mark.
Can't
Well,
hear
I was muted. You didn't hear a thing. I
I can't see you either.
said, right? I was just thinking that the potholes, the swimming holes, I'm really hesitant about even listing those.
I really don't want them in there myself. I agree with
I really don't think Bolton potholes, because Bolton potholes is basically bracketed by private land for the most part and has enough issues with capacity.
Yeah.
I think any kind of advertising on that level is risky for people coming out, and everybody local knows about those two, or
And
can
you
ask.
find it. This is where
It's easy enough to
people
do.
find things. Yeah,
Mhm.
I appreciate that.
We don't
Yeah.
need to market those two, even though technically land cross brackets the Huntington Gorge. I just health concern issues and everything. I'm not sure that it's something that we should be
Mm.
getting, access to the river in different locations,
Yeah.
the lower Huntington, the different spots along the Winooski. Yeah, that makes great sense, but keeping away
Yeah.
from swimming
I think-
holes as a whole, just sort of,
I think when you think of just kind of health and safety in the context of rec, it is, like even Umiak is, they're monitoring, it's not like we're just gonna, well, maybe they do just give you the tubes. But they give you the life jackets, but you're still under your thing. You
Yeah, but
don't
they're
have a
gonna
death
go over a
sign. There's
gorge.
20 deaths at the Huntington Gorge. It's right in front of you. There's a death every year.
Well, I wonder about putting that under, it's not listing the location or anything, but listing, just acknowledging that those places exist within our communities and then sharing content about what is appropriate, like this is bordered by private land, and so there's no parking in these places, and please pack out all your trash. And so way more about education as opposed to just ignoring it all together.
It's interesting.
Again, not listing the location or anything about how to park there well, or anything like that. But just like, there's been 20 deaths at the Huntington Gorge, and more about that. Like, we get to direct the tone of the conversation kind of thing.
Well, that's interesting. But I don't know.
Those are hot button ones. We don't have to
Yeah.
decide tonight.
Yeah, we don't have to decide. I'm leaning towards, I really don't want them listed at all, even though it's a great educational one. But
maybe
let's,
a blanket statement about potholes or swimming holes. Which
oh,
I
a
think,
statement about swimming holes. Yeah.
just something out there that says, there are swimming holes in the area.
Yep.
The hazards of them.
It's at your risk. The parking's not always great. I mean, again, they ticket people on whatever that road is.
So hard.
Yeah, for parking. And so maybe it can be a real general statement, as an education piece, but we can have further discussion about that, since that seems to be those are definitely the areas that it's hard to think about the best way. The Winooski footbridge, I love that footbridge. Oh my goodness, that's so much fun. Long Trail. And the Bolton Dome, I don't even know what that is. What's the Bolton Dome?
The climbing area.
That is
Oh.
it's a climbing area. And there are a
Okay.
couple different climbing areas.
Okay,
And that's a pretty well known, I mean, it's under, Craig is, kind of oversees that and
yeah,
that's pretty well known site.
Okay.
So,
so that's climbing. I didn't even know we had climbing like that. Okay,
yeah, we have
Oh.
climbing.
that's great. Yeah. Is it ice climbing or just any kind of year-round climbing, rocks, that kind of climbing?
No, Kate, do you climb? I don't climb. I'm not.
I climb mostly indoors just because of lack of time to go outdoors, but I have been a couple times to Bolton, which I'm surprised I didn't put that on my list. I think you can ice climb there, but I don't know. It's not something I'm interested in. I've gone a couple times in the summertime and it was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we could put it on there, but honestly, people who climb know that there's climbing in Bolton and there's, apps in Lake Crag, Vermont and stuff where you can look at the specific climbs that are there and whatnot and get parking information. So
Right. If you're a climber, you're probably going to go to Craig's climbing, you're going to find it a different way, the different places. And yeah, I don't know. I don't have a very huge opinion about it either way. I think the one thing is that I think the Smiley parking is
Yeah.
hard. Like that's hard when people are parking in the Smiley parking lot. And that occurs for both the potholes and the dome. So, I don't want to advertise that as, Smiley is not a parking lot for,
Yeah,
unless you find yourself there. It's again, a hassle for the town to monitor that.
yeah,
yeah, it could be something similar. We just say like, yes, there's, these climbing places in Bolton, but not give specific information because people who are climbing are going to go to the website specifically for
Yeah.
those areas or the apps. So
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, all of these, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Kathy.
I was just gonna say, there's avenues to all of these sites everywhere else in Vermont. Like they're listed, everything's listed in, the rivers or the climbing or the hiking, day trails. There's all these books out. All the stuff is listed and easy to find. Go ahead, Linda, not Linda. You had your hand up. Yeah.
Jack, no, I'm not Linda.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask in terms of the profit and nonprofit, where does
Yeah.
Bolton Valley ski area fit into this
Oh,
dialogue?
yeah, we didn't list that one. I'm just gonna add it to my list right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just found out that Cochran's is a nonprofit and Bolton Valley is a for-profit, I'm pretty sure, right? They're not nonprofit. So we had thought that for the for-profit businesses, we would just mention them and have a link. And maybe for the nonprofits, they get a little more, I mean, Cochran's has a link too, but gets a little more information. We're not exactly sure yet how that's going to work out. Did you have a suggestion, Jack, about how that would work?
No,
Yeah.
I'm more curious than anything else. whether-
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
writing mine.
yeah, I mean, this is all like a work in progress, so we're trying to also figure out, we're just looking at the list at this point to figure out, okay, is there anything we're uncomfortable with? And we really need to figure out, okay, what are the kind of categories of things that we're putting on the website? And I don't know if we're separating nonprofit and profit, or if we're just having, categories of, this is about swimming, this is about, skiing, this is about parks and recs. We did agree that we want to have parks and recs in the 3 towns listed. So I think we got one of the things, but Mark, I see your hand up.
Yes, well, excuse me. I was just thinking, with all of these businesses, all these organizations, period, we're gonna need to have some sort of mutual agreement or I can't remember what it's called, but I think there's something in order to get a link installed on the website, they have to send it. I mean, we could just put in a hyperlink, but there's also a way to have that connection go both ways. So you're visiting you know, Cochrane Ski Area website, and there's a trip back
Thanks
to
to the rec.
the
Yeah.
Richmond Recreation
Yeah.
website.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
get permission from everybody on doing that, not, and basically make that one of the fundamentals of any listing on the website. That's not
That's
a
a,
government.
yeah, that's a good point about how to get more hits on your webpage to share the resources is, you know, reach out to Bolton and say, hey, you know, we've got this information about recreation in the 3 towns. So can you put it on your website? That is true. That's a good marketing technique. You know, so
Less so for us, more so for them, just for us, just sort of
Yeah.
a sort of, I don't know if it's even a legal thing per se, but just sort of a protocol that we established for this government run website where it has to be mutually agreed upon. And you know, honestly, I don't know how many people from Connecticut that are visiting the Bolton website, how much we want to tell them about swimming holes and local potentially limited resources, but I think that's part of the picture.
yeah, but there are a lot of locals that ski Bolton and are on Bolton's website. So, you know, that certainly happens. And so does Jericho people and Richmond and Huntington people ski at Bolton. So yeah, I can see the value in that. Kathy, did you have your hand up?
No, never mind.
Okay.
Never mind. I'm just trying to, I'm just playing around trying to find things on my computer. I do think when I was going, I will say though, when I was going over the papers, the forms that were sent, there was something in there that I think was a question around whether we're having for-profit, you know, are we advertising for-profit recreational activities or places, entities, or not? Was that still a question? I'm just
I felt like at one meeting where we're moving towards it's okay. But I will tell you that I do remember reaching out to Duncan and or Josh. And they said generally the Richmond website does not put for profit up on their website. So we might have to loop back. I mean, again, we're just trying to draft what the website would look like, the webpage would look like. And maybe when we loop back, they might, you know, have an opinion that's stronger that says, no, maybe we shouldn't have any for-profit on there.
Okay, great. But the for-profits, we would just do a link, and your point, Mark, is that we would need some agreement. I'm sure there's some kind of form signed by people to say that we're agreeing that this can be on there or whatever.
Right, I think there's gonna have to be some sort of legal approval, and obviously, I think where we end up going with this, running it by the select board and making sure that they're all on board with it. When we finally get to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just a list anyone's site. It's public information. You can put it on your site if you want to, but it's more of like, we're now getting a list that's 1,000,000 miles long when you can Google stuff. It's like, I think for us, just looking at Williston, there's a nice things to do, sort of general categories, because I think we're trying to go too far above and beyond our kind of capacity as a recreation committee. We want to encourage, or here's our committee members. You have questions about things to do, reach out to us. We can be a personal service for you, because there's going to be 1,000,000 places to go just within our 3 towns that we're not going to list everything.
Yeah.
We can be that person to be, hey, we're friendly here. Ask us a question.
Yeah.
More of a type of thing with a few things there,
Yeah.
but it's like, it's getting so large that people are not going to read. They're not going to get to our site, I don't think, to read through it. They're going to find it some other place.
Yeah.
Through the canoeing places, through the rock climbing places, through the skiing places. They all have their own ways to disseminate information as well.
Yep. Okay. All right, but again, we can just, this was brainstorming ideas. I think it's great to think as broad as we want and then whittle it down. We're not saying this is the final say about what's gonna be on there. This is like draft number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know how many drafts we're gonna have. So, all right, so I think what I want to do is I just want to get done with this first page and then talk about next steps. So we have a list of the round church because things happen there, like sledding is big at the round church. We park there for the 4th of July. Playground locations, we've got the Richmond Camel's Hump. And then we have Brewster Pierce for Huntington, and we've got the Smiley School. Now, here's the thing about this one that I don't know. So I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, wouldn't people just use the playground equipment during non-school hours if they were going to go? Because I mean, when the school hours are having, I was curious about the thought about putting the playgrounds from each of the towns. Like I can't invent, like, I don't know.
Somebody going on not.
Like
they're
going,
not open.
yeah, would they be going when they're open? Because we don't want to fill up the parking lot. So I guess I was just trying to think, okay, what's the point of putting the playgrounds for the schools? Okay, Kate.
All right, I was thinking if we put them that we, specify during non-school hours, because in general, the schools do not want public coming during
Yeah.
non-school hours, but I was thinking specifically like Richmond Elementary and Camel's Hump, they put in that cool like bike track last summer.
Oh,
And I
okay.
spent some time there like on the weekends, brought my kids, they biked around the parking lot and went around that loop. And it was pretty awesome. And people who outside of those two schools, like who aren't part of that,
They didn't know
school
about it.
community might not be aware of that being there.
Yep, yep. Mark and then Kathy.
Yeah. You bring up a great point, Kate. And at first I'm like, no, we really shouldn't have schools on there at all because inviting trouble, inviting visitors off at the wrong times, those kinds of things, just I wouldn't say safety issues, but certainly complications with recess. But on the other hand, you're right. They do have a lot of great recreation capabilities outside of that. With the schools, I'm kind of like, that should be more on a local level though, too, putting that on the website versus, bringing your kids to school and knowing that there's a bike path that's on the school property rather than inviting everybody to come and visit. I'm waffling. I was like,
Waffling.
no, Kate's coming out on a waffle, but
Again, this could be more of an amenity list than a specifics list. So we're talking about amenities because it's a lot easier to have if you're a new resident, it's a lot easier to have a conversation with somebody about, hey, I heard there's a really cool pump track in town. Like to be able to ask that question as opposed to where do I take my 10-year-old? That's a much more general question, and that person's going to answer you in whatever way that they like, whatever knowledge they have. But if you can say to somebody like, I'm trying to find out information about this pump track, I saw it was listed, that's kind of a different conversation.
I think
So-
it's up to, some of this is, it's up to the school, like this is school property, it's school property overseen by school personnel.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of liability attached to that. I don't know that it's up to us to list what's happening at the school property for recreation. It's not, it's there for the school purpose. My opinion is it's there for school purposes. And people are going to find it and they'll use it. I'm not sure it's up to, I feel like we would need an agreement with the schools to say, can I put your playground in the recreation ideas, site? It just feels like a little bit out of our lane. To me.
And I still wasn't following what you said before. I was confused.
But if you walk up to somebody and say, I'm looking for activities for my 10-year-old,
Okay.
they're going to answer from their knowledge of the area. But if you can walk up and say like, I'm looking for this specific thing, or I have a 3-year-old and I'm they love playgrounds, like
They love
where are the
okay.
playgrounds?
Okay,
Because we've identified that there are playgrounds in town,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, but not in specifics or. I don't know,
okay,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Keeping it very vague.
yeah,
Aren't people gonna know, like, there's a school in the town, let's find the school, there's gonna be a playground? I mean.
Yeah.
I feel like I knew that when I had a 3-year-old.
Good point, Kathy.
Um,
I would
Okay.
say not early.
what's that?
Yeah, I
Sorry.
mean, I'm completely fine with not putting it on the website if most people feel it's not appropriate. No big deal to me either way. So
I'm just thinking it's an agreement that we have to have with the school. So maybe we put it down there as, here's an idea. But that there's probably should be more legwork around that to make sure we're not stepping on toes or.
Yeah.
That's all.
yeah, okay. That's a good compromise. All right, sledding locations. God, I don't even know any in Huntington. That's terrible. Oh, yeah, I do. Oh, but they can't use it anymore. Okay. I always thought the Round Church was the big sledding area. But maybe there's more. So that's another one that, I mean, Round Church has always been the sledding location, but,
there's also Willis Hill in Richmond.
Yep, right at the edge of
oh,
town. yeah.
okay, okay. Gee, I don't even know the Huntington ones. Okay, are there any in Bolton, Sledding Hills? There must-
Not that we're allowed on anymore.
Okay,
So,
okay. Fish and Game Club, yep, that's out on the road there. I can't think of the name of the road.
West White Hill Road, West White.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Vermont Youth Conservation Corps. Now, why would we put them on? Let me think. What do
They
they,
have trails, don't they?
do they have trails?
They
Does-
do have trails, but they butt up with the Andrews, they butt up with the Andrews Farm trails?
Is that private Andrews Farms? Is that a private trail or not?
No, that's the Richmond land.
Oh, that's
that was-
public land. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so we
They
think
do have
that's-
trails, there and they do have some educational stuff, but I don't know. It's a nonprofit. It's a great
Yep.
resource for some, kids for school and whatnot.
Yep. It's
That would
funny,
be-
I don't know some of these places. It's like, okay.
Well, they have the Monitor Barn is a great place for events.
Yeah, I knew about the Monitor Barn, yeah, okay.
Well, that's part of VYCC.
Okay, I didn't know that, all right. Kayak and canoe access at Volunteers Green and Cochrane Road.
There's also a Bolton access on the Winooski
There a
River.
Bolton one, okay.
Yeah.
I'll just break that down, Bolton. I don't know that there's anything in Huntington related to that. Mountain hiking and biking linked to the Trails Committee is what I wrote. Do they have everything on the Trails Committee? Do they have all of those or not? Who was on the Trail Committee? Kate? What, do they have a list?
I have no idea because I wasn't still on it when they changed town websites and stuff. So I don't know. I know Cochrane's has on their website a link to their trails
Okay,
and their property, but I'm not sure. I'd have to Google it myself and look at the website to see what the Trails Committee has on it.
A pretty extensive map
I was wondering, yeah.
in the Preston Forest.
Gillett Pond is, so the Friends of Gillett Pond. and I-
Gillette.
Yeah, I
Gillette.
think they call it Gillett, I think. is the
Gillette,
r-
yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's Gillette. That's what I've heard people call it. But I
People
could
call
be
it
wrong.
both. People call
Oh,
it both.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
so I think there is the Friends of Gillett or Gillett Pond.
Yeah.
They have stuff, but I'm not positive. When I saw things on the list, I sometimes added something, so I thought there was a link there.
I'm not sure I'd recommend that for swimming. I just wanted to say that out loud. Like, there's a lot of leeches in that. Has anybody swim there? I would never swim there myself.
I see kayaks and I see cross country
Skating,
and skaters is what I generally see.
hockey, skating. You
Yeah,
can cross-country ski on, you can ski on it.
Yeah,
but it, you know.
yeah.
But
I've heard that
that's-
parking is an issue there too, so.
It's become an issue this past year.
Yeah.
What came an issue this past year? Kate, I missed that.
The parking, people parking on the road, they started ticketing people when they hadn't been before is what I heard. I don't know many details, but there's not really like a parking area for it.
Yeah, they're building one. It's just not built yet. So I
That's
know
good.
the parking lot is coming.
Well, one
Okay,
thing I forgot to put on was Iroquois, which made me think of when we were talking about this lake. Iroquois is partly in Richmond and they
Is
have a
it?
nice beach and swimming area.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I used to take my kids there a bunch.
I used to go there.
There's like
too, but I
3
didn't realize it
properties
was
in Richmond that abut the lake.
Yeah, I know.
okay, Iroquois, so we would add that one, okay. Youth Sports League, fall soccer and spring, fall, little league. Yeah, that, I mean, it looks like, you know, that, there's probably a link to those, individuals. Is there a link to those leagues? Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, not on our site, once again, they do their own.
They
site,
do their own,
advertise
yeah.
Through other ways, yeah.
yeah, and adult sports leagues. Do we know if we have any adult sports leagues? I have no idea.
There used to be one at the middle school for basketball in the winter. I don't know if it's still
Oh.
going on, but I know that was
Well, let's just write
they
it
would make a
down.
little money off of that, renting out the courts and
Okay,
bringing adults in.
okay. And snowshoe rentals. So what were we thinking about that? I can't remember who put that down. So I'm just trying to think snowshoe rentals. So we have the free loan program. Do we have a place that rents out snowshoes? I have no idea. In
I was
Huntington?
thinking, I don't know if that's one of mine, but I was thinking the loans.
Oh, the freebie, the
Yeah, yeah.
freebie. Okay, when you said rental, I thought it was money. Okay. And then for Huntington, just to wrap this up, we do have Camel's Hump State Park, which is huge for hiking. Brewster Pierce School, if we list schools. Huntington Library has children and adult events. And then the Huntington Community Gardens. So those, I added those. We don't have a good link on the Huntington website that kind of talks about recreation generally in Huntington. It's very, very committee focused, our website. So there's nothing good there. I've looked, yeah.
Facebook or something.
I'll have to look at Facebook. I haven't looked at Facebook to see what there is, but the town website's very, you know, kind of rigid or specific, you know, and they don't kind of steer away from what the committees are doing in their minutes and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I'll research a little bit more. And then, was there anything else to put on the list, Kathy, for Bolton?
I think we
that
had the long trail.
That
Did you
long
put that-
trail we got listed, yep, yep.
No, I can't, not that I can think of right now. I'd have
Okay.
to,
Okay, so we got through page one. Again, I think we kind of have the, you know, we have some categories. I don't know if they're any clearer to anyone, but, you know, it seems like there's kind of this focus on how do you hike and how do you bike and where the trails are. You got parks and recs, maybe some mention of schools, and then you have water stuff. I mean, that's what I kind of see in this list. There might, and then we have the offshoots of, you know, sledding and
winter.
yeah, winter. We'll go back to that. Yeah, winter sports,
Those in water.
winter rec. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't know, there's like 4 or 5 categories just on that first page. Mark, you have a comment?
Yeah, just circling back to Richmond. I didn't notice this, I don't know, but we don't actually have the Richmond library listed. Richmond
Oh,
Free
I thought it was,
listed as, did I miss it?
well, we would put the snowshoe loan there next to there, but you're just saying separate Richmond.
And the library itself has its own
library.
website and link and organization. They do quite a bit of public events, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then also the round church.
And the round church and yeah, and are those
And
all,
the Historical Society. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
Sean, I do see the round church there.
yeah, are those all links within the Richmond website? Like, do we have is the Richmond Public Library on the
The
Richmond?
library
web-
is separate.
Yeah, the library is.
Okay, what about the round church? Is that?
I don't think we have a round church.
Okay.
in there,
But that
I'm
might
sure
be,
somewhere in there. Oh, see, no, we got the Historical Society, so the Historical.
it must
Society-
be on that, okay. Yeah,
It does have its own website also.
the round church does, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. So what are we thinking for next steps? We kind of went through the first page. That was good. We've got our target, our purpose. We're starting to think about categories. We have question marks about swimming holes. We have question marks about listing the school. But we can, again, keep talking about that. Was there another question mark or were those, oh, yeah. Yeah, I think those were the two big ones. Was there a third one that I'm forgetting? But I think it was the swimming stuff and the, and then the for-profit, nonprofit. We haven't really figured that out yet.
How does this also link up with the senior rec center?
How does it line up with it? Well, I know we're gonna put a link to the
Okay,
senior.
so we would do a link.
I think that's what we would do. Jack, didn't we talk about that last time? That would make sense because you guys are doing pickleball and all sorts of
Everything,
stuff. So I think we would want to say, check out the senior center because you can, see what's going on for rec, right?
Yeah, I think the complexity of the offerings of the senior center is such that it would be a quagmire in the context of what you're trying to do. I would say just a simple reference to the senior newsletter.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
so I think
yes.
that's what we were thinking. And again, I'm not quite sure where that fits. On what category we listed on, that's always the tricky part is, where, people have to be able to find it easily. So we'll, one click or two clicks at the most is what you try to do. And that'll, once you start putting things in, you'll figure out, oh my goodness, they'll never find this, or we got to make it easier. Yeah. Yeah. And maybe it's on the first page. We talk about, recreation is everywhere. We've got the schools, we've got swimming places, and we've got, okay. It's time to let go. I'm trying to look at that and see what that says. Okay. And maybe we say something about we got the senior center or something. Maybe on that front page, we can put some stuff where people can go. So more on that. Oh, it was Keith that was saying goodbye. Okay. Thanks, Keith. All right. So what do you feel is the next steps? Because you're kind of, trying to figure out what do you need next from us? You got a list. We kind of talked out the first page. Should we do this as an exercise and talk through the other pages, or what do you think?
It's just getting more of a draft going, so it starts to become more visual
Okay,
personally.
okay. All
Like
right,
what we can confidently say, and then we're going from there.
okay. All right, so why don't do you think that like in the May meeting, we would look at it, or the June meeting? A draft. Do you want to wait till June?
Let me think about if it's easier to just do it, or if it's easier to draft like this. but,
Yeah.
Like more comprehensive.
Yeah.
And like potentially categorized out.
Right.
I'm not sure.
Okay, which would be easier. Okay.
But I think you look at it in May.
Okay, look at it in May. Okay, so we have a plan of trying to either put things under categories, or maybe it'll go into a draft web page for us to look at the next meeting. So, so great, really appreciate it. Okay, so I think that we're not gonna get to talk about the budget stuff because it's already 8:30. But again, we really don't have any information about, I mean, I guess we can really quickly say we met with zoning and flood regulations. And so, you know, we heard that it really hard to, you know, you can do maintenance and there's a floodway and a floodplain. And so the whole, you know, where the structures are is the floodway, which has really strict rules. So adding new things you can't do, but you could do the playground as a maintenance replacement thing. And I think Kate had emailed everyone about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, I did bring it up at the last PC meeting, just in the public open forum at the beginning of the meeting to bring forward. And a couple things I want to point out is you know, our zoning regulations are much stricter than federal and state regulations. So the things about you know, not so much as being able to put up a dog fence or something, or
Yeah.
you know, a pavilion that's just got 6 posts in the ground. In the formal FEMA state regulations, those are not banned. We went to the nth degree, but the planning commission could certainly revisit that topic, and I intend to get them to do that. I kind of wanted to get that when we first put when we revised the zoning regulations for the flood hazard overlay district several years ago. But I didn't really have anything in mind for the town properties, and so I didn't push the issue. But I do think that people are open to discussing that, and granted, in the short term, and what's that stimulus money that's being worked through ARPA, we may not be able to apply that, but I don't think we should just shut the door on it completely as a rec committee. I think we need to push the issue, maybe coordinate, once we get our hands around it a little bit better, coordinate maybe even a joint meeting with the PC, where we can all sort of sign in and spend some time talking about the park. I think that could go a long way and get in it. We've got a lot on our plate, but we're about to scrape a lot of it off and pass it on to the select board. And I think we'll have some room to spend some time thinking about more practical applications for the floodplain, certainly for public properties, if not so, then just private property. So that's in the works.
Okay. That's good. That's good to know. And the recreation and conservation panel, it was talking about recreation and conservation. I actually didn't find the video yet. Did anyone go to that? We were just gonna, Kate?
I listened to it after. I wasn't able to go to it because my husband was traveling that week. I couldn't find it on the video, but I can forward it. Sorry, I couldn't find it on the website. MMC TV is like horrible to find stuff. It was actually posted on Front Porch Forum, and that's how I found it. But I did forward it to, what's the woman's name who talked to us? Deb? Is it Deb? From, where is she? Bolton? The one who came to one of our meetings.
Deb Shelby.
Yeah, that's what, yeah. I forwarded it to her. I was able to dig it up out of the Front Porch Forum posting. So I can forward it if anyone's interested.
Did you watch it, Kate? I did watch, I caught some of the beginning, but I didn't get to the bulk of it. So I would like to go back and check that out.
Sure, I can forward the link then if anybody's interested, they can watch it. Yeah, I thought it was interesting and informative.
I'll look at it too. Curious.
The panel was all women. I thought that was fantastic. Like, it was women of foresters and, you know, biologists, and I love that. But very, very smart people. It was great. So I will try and see that again. I'd like to watch the whole thing.
Sure.
Good conversation.
If you could send that to the link, we could get it into the link into the minutes. So you just send it out in an email.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
Just put the link in the minutes. It wouldn't be any sort of
Yep.
town
Good
meeting.
idea. Yeah, good idea. I think it's a good conversation and I'm kicking myself for not going. All right, so it's 8:35. I'm gonna call it at this point. One last comment, Kathy, you have?
No, I'm happy to call it.
Okay, so, I need a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
All right, I second it. All right, thank you all. I really appreciate it. We'll see you in May, Tuesday, the, whatever the day is,
Second, I think it is.
the second. And then remember, come with your working gloves and your, on Green Up Day in May 6th at 10, so. And I'll follow up with, sending you guys all the stuff to post on Front Porch Forum and make posters. Thank you all.
Okay, great.
Thank you,
Sounds
everyone.
good.
Good night.